Hello and welcome everyone to a new YouTube video here on my channel. Today we have a special guest. It is Chris B. Say hi, Chris.
Howdy, folks.
It's nice to have you here. We have your deck here that you play a lot on your stream, and I obviously watch your stream as well. And it's always fun to watch. And just talk a little bit. What is this deck and why you like playing it?
All right, so this is an Izzet tempo deck that at its core is trying to abuse Goldspan Dragon. And anybody who ever played with Wilderness Reclamation or Hero of Dominaria will kind of recognize how this card functions pretty quickly. It's a threat that starts clocking your opponent and immediately produces some untapped mana that you get to protect your oh so important dragon with.
Yeah.
Alongside that, the deck has a bunch of counter magic, interaction removal, all just different ways to stop your opponent from really developing much of a meaningful board state. And then you try to just ride Goldspan Dragon, making absurd amounts of mana
Mm-hmm.
into the sunset.
Yeah, I really like Goldspan Dragon as well, and I think it was perfectly said. It feels like Reclamation, where you play a card, but the card is not naked on the board, right? It feels like you can protect it. You play a card, it does something, and you can protect it. And when you untap, you feel really powerful.
It's kind of all of the joy of getting the mana out of Wilderness Reclamation without the hassle of trying to find a win condition because your
Yep,
Reclamation just kills your opponent for you.
exactly, yeah. And what I really like about this list, since there are multiple iterations, you play Gadwick the Wisent, or the Wisent, I'm not even sure, but um, what made you choose this card in this deck?
So the deck, compared to the stock version of this list that plays Bone Crusher and no Gadwicks, had two major weaknesses that I found, and that was that Blue Red has a really tough time dealing with anything that has 5 toughness or more, and unfortunately, there's a very common 5/5 in the format right now.
True.
And the deck also doesn't do a very good job of pressuring opponents for tapping out, especially in control mirrors. It's not like we can slam our Hero of Dominaria and start immediately gaining card advantage, because Goldspan Dragon's good, but making mana only does so much if you run out of cards. Gadwick, however, can threaten to immediately just draw 7 cards, which is very difficult to come back from, even if your opponent gets to resolve everything they want to resolve on the next turn.
Yeah, you don't even care tapping out too much. I mean, sure, you can have some mana open, but drawing a full hand, I mean, good luck with it, right? I really like Gadwick, and I think it's this is the perfect deck for Gadwick. Like right now, I cannot see another deck where Gadwick would fit that much. And yeah, it can stop an aggro deck by its own, and that's really impressive for a card that also allows you to draw cards. That's
Yeah,
that's the
the Ox
dream.
and the Brazen Borrowers do a great
Yeah,
job of stopping
yeah,
anything too big from getting to attack.
yeah. One mana cantrip and the card that has two spell in one works really well with Gadwick, definitely. Yeah, I really like the deck, and I also like the foretell card from the new set. It also is really confusing sometimes, and just foretelling and behold the multiverse sometimes gives the opponent a different line because they actually think it's a sword coming. I really love that. It happens a lot, and I
Yeah, the
like it.
guessing game from getting to play both of them and
Yeah.
having both of them be pretty good in the list is really
Yeah,
enjoyable.
it's not just good in an open deck list. Obviously, this deck got popularity, so even in a closed deck list on the ladder, I think it's really nice to have this because you really don't know, and that is great.
Hmm.
There's a one-off in this deck, and it's a Cinderclasm. Why did you put that in the deck?
So Cinderclasm fills a really interesting role. Primarily, it means that for 2 mana at instant speed, your opponent will never be able to attack with Lovestruck Beast. They can save their 1/1s with pump spells, but then they're not 1/1s anymore.
Yeah.
And aside from that, it turns out that a lot of the monocolored, really hyper aggressive decks just have a bunch of low toughness things that either die to 1 or 2 damage. And it's really easy to have Cinderclasm be a 2 or a 3 for 1 in a lot of matchups.
Mhm. And it's an instant, right? So it's definitely great. You still can have mana open, and then you see what you do. It kind of reminds me on the Flame Sweep. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably the same, right?
Very similar to Flame Sweep, except probably even better with Goldspan Dragon,
Mm-hmm.
since You can hold up the 2-mana side of
Yep.
it to fog a Lovestruck
Yep.
Beast after attacking with the Goldspan Dragon.
Yeah, and since the mana base is actually right now not too bad in a dual color deck in standard, the double red is not that painful here at all, since you always achieve to get double red for Goldspan Dragon anyways.
Yeah, with the Fabled Passages and the Fjords and the Pathways, you can, if you
Exactly.
want to have double red for Cinderclasm, you usually can.
Yeah, and you go the snow route mainly for Frostbite, I would say, right? I mean, discard 1 mana, 3 damage is just so efficient.
Yeah, a big portion of what makes the deck powerful is the fact that its 3-mana turn can do something like cast Behold the Multiverse or cast a 2-mana interactive spell and Frostbite, and it really tries to leverage that 3-mana turn. And the best way that it gets to do it is by using Frostbite to kill a 3-drop.
Yeah, yeah. And there are some free drops you want to target, especially the Raideen that you do not like to see with the Snowlands.
Yes.
Dies to it instantly, right? I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Also,
Raideen, Mammoth,
yeah,
Bone
Mammoth.
Crusher Giant,
Exactly, yeah.
and all sorts of other random 3-drops,
Yeah.
except Lovestruck Beast, but Lovestruck Beast is basically invincible.
Yeah, Lovestruck Beast is one of a kind thing, Eldraine. But yeah, I really like Frostbite right now, and there's so many free toughness creature also in Rogues that it shifted a bit to the free toughness creature. Remember where you always had to have Bone Crush Giant in a deck because everything had like 2 toughness. So I think it's really nice to remove them and put the Gadwick in, and since you have Frostbite, it works out great, and I think the meta resolves more on the 3 toughness creature. Obviously, there's still 2 toughness creature around, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
And Shock, I mean, don't think we have to talk too much about the Shock Typhoon. It's a win con in itself and a cantrip. I mean, this card is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, probably familiar to most people right now. The only thing that bears saying about it is that turns out you can make really big sharks really fast with Goldspan Dragon, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, you love to see that X in the cycling there. Yeah, you definitely love. Like that is also why it feels like Reclamation. You have the X here, you have the X here. Goldspan Dragon is the creature Reclamation. Yeah, it's definitely the closest a deck came since Reclamation, and as my viewers definitely know, I love Reclamation, and for you who don't know Chris, he loves Reclamation as well. I mean, back in the day when I streamed, we talked over Twitter about decks. I tried his Escape Reclamation version and everything out, and yeah, he definitely likes the same playstyle as me. Let's have a short look in the sideboard here. I just see some extra counters, probably for the Sultai matchup, I would assume.
Yeah, a suite of different counter spells to kind of round out the numbers in different matchups.
Yep.
Essence Scatter is great against Gruul. Negate is very good against Sultai. Mystical Dispute, good against basically anything that plays blue.
Yep. And also some more removal spells, right? Like Dragonfire and Cinderclasm. Because there are some aggressive decks around right now.
Yep, Cinderclasm is your best tool against most aggro lists. Super useful for anything that has a bunch of Lovestruck Beasts. Most of the white aggressive decks right now, again, have a ton of low toughness creatures. And Scorching Dragonfire is your best, most effective answer to crabs before they overwhelm you completely, which will happen a lot.
Yeah, I tested your deck on stream like 2 days ago, and the first game someone dropped crab, passage. Next game, crab, passage, crab. And I was like, okay, cool game.
Yeah. Unfortunately, one of the penalties of being a deck that's all about drawing a bunch of cards is that you will draw a bunch of cards.
Yep.
Not good against Mill.
Yeah, not good against Mill. And this is why we see Phoenix of the Ash and Ox of Aganos here. So this is the 2-1 setup you went with?
Yes. The idea being that Ox of Agonis is probably the single strongest escape card you can play, but because you're a counterspell deck, it's not always easy to empty your hand.
Yep.
While the Phoenixes trade a little more efficiently with their creatures, even if it doesn't necessarily empty your graveyard as quickly as you might like. But the Phoenix of Ashes are pretty important against the Sultai matchup right now, which some players are starting to sideboard Coma in, and that is a very difficult card to beat with this deck, necessitating that you kind of just have to be as aggressive as possible, and Phoenix is a very good way to hedge 2 matches at once in that
Yeah, that is a really good take. Yeah, you definitely want some aggressive options against a Coma Sultai list. Because I think there is really not any option. I mean, you can definitely go with the Brazy Boros and Gadwick and try to manage this somehow, but you don't have a lot of time. At one point, Coma takes over, right?
Yeah, you'll get matches where you'll beat a Coma that's been on board for 3 turns, but it is not the situation you want to be in.
No, definitely not. And then we have the Weathered Runestone, and I mean, this is basically saying, Rakdos, no thank you.
Yeah, it turns out that Kroxa is a very difficult card to beat, but if they don't have Kroxa, it's a very easy deck to beat.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, the sideboard is always depending on the snapshot of the meta, right? And I think this is an overall sideboard that targets most of the meta deck right now. Obviously, it's a really fast changing meta right now. One card I would like to ask you, why is there an extra Behold the Multiverse? Just to have the extra card draw against the control decks?
There's a lot of matchups where card advantage is pretty necessary, because in a world where your opponent has counter spells and you can't necessarily resolve Gadwick, it's very easy for this deck, which tries to leverage cheap, effective interaction, to just get out-resourced. You can 1-for-1 for days, but you can only 1-for-1 as long as you have cards. So, as much as I'd love to play 4 copies of Behold the Multiverse in the main deck, it's a little too slow against the aggressive decks, especially if you draw more than one of it and have a lot of trouble for telling it. So we definitely want access to the 4th copy. It's the best instant speed card draw we have available to us, but we kind of got to make room for it in the sideboard instead of the main deck.
Yeah, I like that. Even for 4 mana, it's a great card. I mean, Scry 2, Draw 2 is always good. And yeah, so this is the deck. We're gonna jump into some games, and yeah, if you like it, watch the games. See you. That's a keep. We have this.
Yeah,
right?
it's hard to say no to Foretell on Behold on turn 2.
Okay, is this the one time not aggro deck? Is this the one time not aggro deck here?
I wonder if everybody's playing a bunch of aggro lately to try to adjust to Sultai.
Yeah, that is the main reason, yeah. That's definitely the main reason. This is why we saw 1 mono red and 1 mono white in the top 8 today as well.
Perhaps it's time to return to 4 copies of Cinderclasm in the 75 then.
I think you definitely have to adjust a bit. I think the meta definitely has a low shift. Okay, what is going on here? I just want to see the color of this. Is just do it.
Well, Fabled Passage means probably at least 2 color aggro.
2 color, yeah. I think we're gonna see Gruul. That's my call.
Yeah, with no Yorion in the companion zone.
Wait, what?
60 card Sultai? Rogues?
No Sultai, maybe.
Okay.
So what is
the lack of Yorion is pretty interesting, though.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like this, we definitely have to keep up negates and Behold.
Yeah, if it is Sultai, if it's Ultimatum Sultai, it's not Ultimatum Sultai.
What?
Okay. We got Spice.
No. I mean, that is what we don't care.
Yeah, I don't think that matters too much in the short term, at least.
Yep.
It's not like we play a bunch of creatures.
We're looking for lands here, even though it's a mountain. I mean, sure.
Yeah, if we find a dragon, then...
Do we want to opt?
Not knowing what the opponent's on, there's the possibility that we might need to hold up negate. I can't think of many things.
That's the thing.
But
I think
also
we're gonna
don't know what to
here,
expect
though.
here.
I want to shoot this in case there's some crazy mechanic.
Yeah, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for the opponent to be playing Serpent Skin Veil.
Yep. So I rather do it here. Well, at least we got a really interesting matchup here.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 mana.
Okay, that is extremely petty theftable eventually.
Yeah, that looks like a petty theft to me, and let's see what we find with the opt here. It looks like a counter deck.
Yeah. Let's see. Are there any effects that...
There's an absent counter list.
Only in green-white, right?
No, there's actually also the snake from Zendikar, that when counter creature dies, you get plus something plus something. This is for me where I actually do a Behold again.
Oh, and there's also the Ozolith from Ikoria that could really synergize with Pelucranos.
Yep. I gotta go the greedy route here and set another Behold outside.
Yeah, I think Behold trying to find more blue mana for Gadwick
Yep.
currently is pretty appealing. Still got Petty Theft and Negate up anyway.
Yep. Okay. Kind of feel like bouncing the Pelucranos here now. And go for the Negate, for the Opt Search. Because now they cannot replay it here.
Yeah, this prevents a lot of damage.
And that one seems fine to us. Sure, we take it. It's interesting. I think they have... Isn't there this Hydra from Zendikar that actually gives counters? When the counter creature dies, you get like 3/3 something? I'm not even sure.
I think you get like a Hydra token equal to the number of counters on it.
Something like this, yeah.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
I agree with a Drake here.
Yeah, I see nothing wrong with a good old dragon.
I want to have a blue open here.
Who needs blue mana when your dragon will fix all your blue colors for you?
Yeah, that's true. And now we got... it's a beautiful animation here with the dragon, I have to say. Okay. Well, if there's a removal, we're just gonna Heartless Act. We're gonna negate this.
Yeah, this isn't quite the timing the opponent wanted to do this with, but we had the removal spell anyway,
Yep.
so I suppose it works.
Yes, that is not the perfect timing. Okay, having a dragon here is... We don't have another counter here now. But, I mean, if they go for the Goldspan, like, we just get another token, we can go Behold. Questing Bee.
Questing Beast, we just get to laugh at with Gadwick.
Yep. Yeah, it's just a 4/4 that is on the field. This looks like a fight spell. Well, we can look for some cards. Maybe find an answer. No, no.
Well, we do need a blue mana to cast
That
the
is actually
Gadwick.
true.
And we found it. Perfect. Just what we were looking for.
We still had the treasure from the attack though in worst case scenario, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. The Blizzard Brawl actually does still give us a treasure.
Okay, I mean, that was pretty good. Okay, let's get some good old draws in. That's also really tempting.
It's very tempting, isn't it?
That's also really tempting.
It's kind of hard for the opponent to remove the Goldspan Dragon without giving us enough mana to...
I mean, we make a 4/4 shock on this attack.
Yeah, that seems pretty tempting.
That is definitely worth doing it.
I mean, almost no matter what they do now, we can Gadwick with Brazen Borrower, tapping down the Questing Beast. They can make a big Pelucranos and fight, but then they've got a tiny Pelucranos after that.
Yeah, that is totally fine. Oh, interesting. I like that actually. I would do the shock here still.
I would probably not, just because then we get to use that extra mana for Gadwick.
That is actually true. But they will fight the Goldspan Dragon, so the mana gets lower as well.
Yeah. So...
It's a close one.
Yeah, alright, alright. I kind of agree with trading off the Shark in this spot.
I mean, they have to make a decision now. How they want to handle this. And we still can, you know... Okay, that's fine. I mean, it's a 2/2. That's a good...
that's pretty handleable.
Yeah. At this point, I would go. I draw a hand.
Yeah, it's
Maybe 1 mana open for Frostbite.
somewhere between 4 and 5, because they do have the Frostbite.
Yeah, I would go 4.
I'd be pretty tempted to say 5 here. I don't think they can kill us on the backswing.
They could go with the lands 3. They can play land. I mean, we can still block. Worst case, we still block. So,
Yeah,
I agree.
difficult to imagine dying here.
Yeah. Well, now you feel really happy. That's like,
Yeah.
okay, let's play this game again. Restart. Okay, that is impressive though. This is a double land. We're not dead, but it is a double land.
Yeah, this is where Frostbite starts coming in handy.
Yep. They don't have enough. How many cards is it? 12, right?
Well, one of those was summoning 6, so
Yeah,
it didn't go as great for them as perhaps they would have liked.
Yeah, I mean the 4 damage is... This is really big. This is a really big draw. Now with the Brazen Boros, we cannot bounce the land, but we can still play it and tap it, which is still good enough.
Yeah, well, we can't, because Gadwick won't be able to tap lands even after they're animated. But we've got a Frostbite to answer 1 land, and we can get mana and play an untap land so that we have a counter spell for any removal spell.
Yeah, I think here it's pretty safe to attack with both. Yeah, I mean on the backswing, if they go for the okay, I have to win with the lands routes, we just win.
Yeah. And even with a counter, or with something like Serpent Skin Veil, we still have the sod coming.
Yeah. Yeah, this looks good.
Yeah, should be able to just wrap it up. Drawing 5 cards, still pretty good.
Yep. We don't have to play anything here. Untap, target Snowland.
Oh. Yep, and we just get to tap that down with Gadwick.
I never saw that card. It's the first time I saw it. And swing. We managed to do it. Okay, we play against I don't even know what it is. I like the Scorching Dragonfires here though, and an additional Essence Scatter.
Yeah, the Scorching Dragonfires. So they do still exile the Pelucranos.
Yeah, and I also think you can
exile damage.
The Syndiclasm can go out here, in my opinion. And I would
it doesn't look like much of a matchup where it's likely that there's going to be a lot of 1 toughness creatures, or even that many 2 toughness creatures overall.
I can see cutting a Brazen Borrow actually as well.
So, Pelucranos kind of makes me feel like Brazen Borrower's probably fine, not knowing much else about their deck, but if we're correctly identifying that they're a +1/+1 counters theme deck, then...
Yeah, then
okay,
that is true. If it's just really the counter deck what we expect, then it's definitely fine. Yeah, it is some sort of Snow Golgari. Maybe it's Snow Sultan. We didn't saw blue.
Yeah, entirely possible. Blizzard Brawl is the only reason that they're in snow. It's certainly strong enough to be a justification for it.
Yeah, I kind of like this.
Yeah,
gives us
Essence Scatter is hard to complain about.
Definitely.
And an opt can be anything.
Definitely as well. Okay. This is too many passages for me. Okay, this is an interesting card here. It's a rampy card.
Yeah, ramp is strong.
Definitely strong.
Not necessarily the strongest against counterspells.
Nope.
We'll need to draw a couple more of them.
I mean...
hopefully a little less in the way of lands.
Yeah, I can see there's a Questing Beast, turn 4, Polychronos. Just, they play this card to make a good turn 3. I'm not happy about that.
Yeah, I guess that is fair. I imagine we're losing the Essence Scatter.
I am matching as well. That is fine. I can't see bouncing this actually.
Yeah,
That is a huge tempo loss for the wizard here. But I also want to opt here.
yeah, it's kind of tempting to opt.
We have too much removal for this.
Well, on the one hand, it's card draw. On the other hand, a 1/1 isn't exactly scary.
I think we have to bot. This is a. Sometimes you see a card. This is way better. Sometimes you see a card and you go like,
How bad can it truly be if it replaces itself? Well, sort of bad. Definitely sometimes sort of bad.
Yeah, we don't want it, but we can shuffle it back, and we have too many Fabled Passage.
Yeah, certainly want it more than a land at this point, so more than happy to put it back in with Fabled Passage.
Exactly. Okay, so they have access to 5 mana, and it's hard to play around the Essence Scatter, which is true. You have basically almost full information, and you just discard as Gather. Okay, sure. No pressure.
That probably means something like a Garrick would be my guess. So, ooh.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can see this.
There might have been an argument to petty thefting the Sculptor of Winter last turn, if them doing nothing kind of indicates that their hand is probably a bunch of 6-drops.
That is true, but yeah. I mean, wait a second.
Okay, well, petty theft seems real strong now. I didn't think petty theft would be a counterspell, but here we are.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, sorry, I would say. That hurts. Just looking at it really hurts. That is painful. I mean, that would have been really good. Yeah, that was just a blow. That was just a blow.
An example of a game where interaction is extremely good.
Yeah, definitely. Boo gone, I guess. Okay, let's go. Yorion.
Ooh, all right.
This is a game where we can say it will be a game.
Yeah, no real use for Frostbite, but really hard to be upset by Brazen Borrower, Sod Coming, Shark Typhoon in this matchup.
Yeah, we definitely like it. I mean, Frostbite sometimes gets you through some things. I mean,
yeah,
it was...
There are versions that play Shark Typhoon in the main, where... Ooh, Behold the Multiverse is a fantastic draw.
I think we have to do this here.
Yeah.
I wish we would have another blue so we can keep counter and Behold up, but that's not always possible.
We don't really want to use counterspells very early against Yorion lists, mostly because we're better off countering 7-drops than we are countering ramp. So it doesn't hurt to just foretell our stuff early and aggressively.
Yeah. I can see that.
Ooh. All right.
This is really nice. Double Shark Typhoon, end of turn, putting a little bit... But then again, they have like 7 Heartless Acts on hand. And go like, oh no, I have so many bad cards.
We don't... Every Heartless Act that targets something that is not a Goldspan Dragon is a minor victory in and of itself.
Definitely. I think we're gonna start with our first Shark here to say hi. Not to have... Okay.
I can't complain about can't complain about drawing Shark Typhoon.
But
can
we need
sort
to
of
find
complain about missing the land drop.
Yeah.
No, opponent, don't Mystical Dispute. No! Yeah, unfortunately that's probably not worth Saw It Coming.
Yeah.
Because they played the Jwari Disruption really early, meaning there's a pretty good chance they've got another one, unfortunately.
I agree. Mystical Dispute, you don't see that too much in those lists.
No, when you do, well, Yorion is actually a reason we kind of like Double Frostbite at least.
Yeah.
When you do see Mystical Dispute, it can occasionally mean versions that are heavier on Shark Typhoon and Counter Magic for the mirror.
It looks like more like the list Seth used to play today. What do you think? Do we keep just not shock cycling here, or do we want to find it?
I probably wouldn't cycle the Shark Typhoon here, because I think we can actually sort of make this work on 4. And...
I stop. I want to draw it, but I can't, I think. At this point, we really need to find lands. This is more on the annoying side. Because
we can hope that they just play the Yorion here.
I think we have
and then
to
we
go
can
for
get
it.
by with Double Frostbite. Yeah, I think at this point doing the second opt is worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, their 6 mana play is not. It's not like something we cannot deal with, right? Their 7 mana play is the scary one.
Worst case scenario, it's Vorinclex, and then we have to Double Frostbite that. Finding... That's more annoying.
But I think we just let it go through, right? And then force them to play Yorion, and then maybe...
Yeah, let the Binding Resolve, play...
Shock.
Yeah, maybe Shark? There's an argument for not Sharking.
Yeah, I mean, we let this resolve and then Shock. Definitely want to find our better cards here.
Yeah, finding a land drop is pretty tempting. Alright.
Hello, cards.
Gadwick can be pretty good eventually.
Yeah, we can definitely not play it yet, because we have to keep this up. I can see myself shocking this in for a better shock. I think the life total here is not too scary. But now we always have to keep 2 mana up, just to make sure we deal with their ultimatum, if this is the ultimatum list.
Yeah, eventually they might wind up casting an ultimatum with Mystical Dispute back up on us, but kind of just have to live with that if it happens.
Exactly.
Part of missing land drops is trying to figure out how to play from behind.
And seeing Kitria Drome gives me more of a feeling that this is the ultimatum deck.
Yeah, the straight 3-color variations tend not to splash red sources or splash for Tibalt at all.
Exactly. I am tempted to just double Frostbite this.
Yeah, I think Double Frostbite's probably the right way to go about it. And then we get to... probably play Brazen Borrower at that point, instead of making a bigger Shark.
Yep.
We get a little more damage in, and threaten to make an even bigger Shark later on.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely want to have something on board that keeps attacking here.
Yep. The inevitability kind of favors them at the moment.
I would say so as well. Are we happy to see that?
Yeah. Means we get to have a pretty big Shark into, hopefully, Gadwick next turn.
That would be the dream scenario, exactly. I mean, they find their lands, which is also nice for them if they want to go counter into the ultimatum. But that is next turn, not this turn.
Yeah, and one of the nice things about getting to... okay.
I mean,
not forcing us to use a Zot coming is more than welcome.
Definitely, yeah. I wonder if they actually have some spot removal on their hands. And we have 7 mana, right? A 5/5 is really good. We take the... Okay.
Yeah, yes, and Scatter isn't the most useful thing in the world, but can eventually hit a Vorinclex.
Yeah, exactly. I think we can just pass here again.
Yeah, with the Borrower, don't really need to play the Gadwick.
Yeah.
And don't need to go down below 5 mana most of all.
And we can still use the Essence Scatter for... If they have Ultimatum and counter back, we can still only let one thing go through. That is interesting.
I'm inclined to let that resolve and then just hold the counterspell for removal.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that as well. Yeah, this is most likely GG now. They need basically double removal here.
It's either double removal spell or Heartless Act plus Mystical Dispute.
Yep. And there's no Mystical Dispute.
Alright.
Okay.
And we drew the Frostbite, so even if they had a Shark Typhoon for 1, we'd still have it.
It was really nice that we could use our Frostbite in a matchup like this.
Yeah, getting use out of cards that are otherwise dead kind of mitigated the fact that we missed a couple of land drops.
Yeah, I really think that was super important in this matchup. So, are you a Phoenix player in this scenario?
Yeah, one of the biggest threats post-board is that they can play a Coma, and then it kind of almost doesn't matter how far ahead you are unless you're ludicrously far ahead. So we still need to be able to threaten them as much as possible, even kind of taking some risks and tapping out in some scenarios.
How much do we like the Essence Scatter for potential Gargaroths?
Gargaroth's a threat, but the Essence Scatter is dead against so much except for Yorion or possibly Gargaroth. I think it's better not to play the Scatter.
Yeah, I agree.
Although occasionally you'll feel sad that you didn't.
I agree, definitely. I think also the Gadwick is still an answer, and the Borrow is still an answer, and the combination is a big answer. The Shark Typhoons were really nice to draw here.
Yeah, Shark Typhoons and Brazen Borrowers are kind of the all-stars.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, alright, that counts as the all-stars.
Yeah, we have a good tempo aggression here. We have no counter, but...
So there's some possibility to leading on Shatters. Well, never mind. Okay, I was going to say, these decks sometimes play Duress, and it can be interesting to try to fizzle the Duress by playing the Shatter Skull Smashing first, but the Shark Typhoon is going to be what they take regardless now.
Looks a little bit better now. I mean, don't take this just to stop Phoenix for that turn, because we probably like this one a little bit more. But then again, Brazen Boar is also good against their Shark Typhoons.
Yeah.
And it's actually really nice to play Phoenix early, I guess, because they have some export wipe exiles, and they go like, I cannot use this for this 1/1 here. And also, will they keep... I don't think they keep Verdict, but I can see them keeping the event.
Yep. So we want to try to be as aggressive as possible, knowing that there's always the possibility the opponent can just win the game by playing Coma when they have 7 mana. Yep. So we can't be as slow and methodical and control-y as we'd like this matchup to be.
Yep.
But this is a good hand for making that happen.
The opponent is not happy and lets the clock go down. Well, that is unfortunate, sir.
Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah, I think we can actually just... That is not ideal. Well, sometimes you take them, you know? You take them.
Yeah.
You take them. It's totally fine. Well, it looks like this is a win. Triple Borrow is really heavy though. Imagine every turn you have to deal with a flash creature, and it's interesting. It's interesting. What is your opinion on in the Sultai matchups right now? Sultai Ultimatum, yes or no?
In terms of how Izzet plays against it, or whether I think that the Sultai deck should be playing Ultimatum.
Yeah.
Oh,
opponent's back.
Hey, a game.
A game. I think we just go Phoenix here.
Yeah, trade's a little better against Heartless Act.
Exactly.
I think.
Okay. As early as we have this in the graveyard, as better it is.
Yeah, and this indicates they probably don't have Elspeth's Nightmare, which isn't super common out of them, but does occasionally get played because Yorion players love to play Sagas.
It's cool to wait. So, it is... Yeah, it has to be. I mean, we already knew it's gonna be that one. But yeah, Cultivate is something. I think we have to go Shark Typhoon to make sure we find our counters now.
Well, part of the benefit of playing Borrower is it does do a little bit better job of being aggressive. That's probably totally fine.
I mean, you can choose. Choose one.
Ample choice. It does get to turn into a Brazen Borrower that blocks Brazen Borrowers fairly well.
Yeah, but if they spend 3 mana, we bounce it.
Yeah.
That is still fine. And then there's a cycle of strangeness, I would say. I kind of want to play the Brazen here now.
I
think we have to
Well,
use
the duress makes things a little more complicated, huh?
I still think we have to shock.
Yeah, I'm in for shark here, I think.
We have one card
The
in the
duress
graveyard for the
taking the
Phoenix.
opt actually gets us pretty close to the Phoenix, though, huh?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We get also an extra card in the graveyard, so that's pretty good. Nice. That is pretty nice.
Yeah, so their Foretold card is either Behold the Multiverse or Alrund's Epiphany. Epiphany will be a little scary here.
Yeah, I tend to believe it's Epiphany here.
Probably. Well, I suppose unless they have a follow-up.
Never mind.
Okay. Alright. I can live with that.
Still a good potential 4-card steep now. But it's a Yorion deck, so that's like 2-card steep. Or 3-ish. And not the cultivate is big.
Oh, well, now we get to punish them if they decide to attack with the Valky, since they're not representing transforming it into something with 3 power.
Yeah.
Last they saw, our hand was nothing but Brazen Borrowers and lands.
This is what I see. Brazen Borrower, land. And they think that we go and step Brazen Borrower. Yep.
Hey!
Hello.
Got him. Alright, and this is actually the one hand where Coma is not as big of a deal, because the one answer we have that isn't great normally is bounce the Coma and then hope we can kill him on board.
Yeah, and we're gonna get Gadwick here as well. I mean, I really enjoy that.
Yeah. So I think we probably escape the Phoenix of Ash here and then serve with Petty Theft up.
So what if they play an ultimatum?
Well, the only way we have around ultimatum is to Gadwick for 1, and that's probably not exciting.
Yeah. What if we keep double Brazen up instead of the Phoenix here?
Yeah, we have enough blue to do that.
I'm kind of a fan of the double Brazen here. Because double, so we attack, they go on 13, right?
Yeah, we represent putting them to 7 the turn after that.
We would win.
Except we also have the Phoenix plus the escape.
Yep.
Alright, yeah, I kind of dig that.
Exactly. So, I mean, if they would play the ultimatum, we can still see, right? The worst card probably is... I mean, I think the worst card would be the extra turn.
Yeah, so the extra turn is generally the one we're not going to give them. Yeah, there's that.
I mean, we kind of knew this.
The question is what they grab with the other 2. In this case,
I can imagine Valky, Roaring Klex, an extra turn. You know. But then again, the Brazen Board
I don't think
tribe.
Roaring Klex necessarily does a ton here.
Exactly.
So my guess would probably be Epiphany, the Curabest, the Sea God, and Valky.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think we just bring back the extra turn here.
Yeah. Let them have an 8/8. Let them have a Tybalt.
Yeah, exactly.
And unless they have a Mystical Dispute, do we still have lethal?
We have lethal if they don't have him. I mean, they can minus the Tybalt as well.
Well, they minus the Tybalt on the 3/3, and we're still representing... Still representing exactly 13, I think.
Yeah,
so unless they Mystical Dispute, I think we got them.
Yeah, I think so as well. It would be exactly 13, yeah. Because of the failed passage here. We felt this one. Okay, I mean, we're gonna figure it out. There's a stop.
Yeah, that looks like a stop.
That is a stop.
Well...
You never know. You have to go for it here. There's no way around.
Yeah, and this is, even with a Mystical Dispute, this is still a scenario where we could manage to get him.
Yeah, I mean, we can at least deal with Tybalt here, which is huge, in my opinion.
Yeah, so they down-ticked on a Shark, which means they can't actually cast anything with it.
We definitely need to keep... So, this happens in the early steps, so this is important that we not play a creature, except if we would play Gadwick, right?
Yeah.
Because we
I'm in
can play
agreement
this next
there.
turn and keep attacking, right? This is an interesting turn. I mean, we can attack here, here, here.
Put them to 10. Yeah,
8,
there's a
8,
possibility that maybe just Gadwick for 4 is the best move here.
10. I agree. But I'm not happy if they will get the Gadwick.
Yeah, well, the good news is they don't have a ton of ability
And
to
I just
tap
want to
stuff
mention,
down.
we also have Brazen Borrow and Kiora into negate.
Yeah.
Potential play.
So they get a 1-turn window to try to resolve another giant 7-drop.
Yep.
They
Could be
can
a
go
Kiora.
Yorion.
Yorion, I mean.
Yorion's pretty good.
Yep, it's a flyer, but...
And another 8/8.
I mean, the 8/8 is annoying, yeah. We still have a Shark Cocoon as well.
Yeah, and in that case, we do still have a Gadwick.
We cannot tap down the 8/8 yet, though.
Yeah, so we'll probably have to Shark Typhoon chump block in that case.
Yep.
We can Petty Theft whatever they steal if the game gets to that point.
Mm-hmm. It's not bad to draw that one. Okay, so we need to play a Phoenix.
Well, playing the Phoenix doesn't do much since it gets tapped down by the Sea God.
Oh yeah,
but we can tap down Yorion with an Opt and then chump block an 8/8 with a Shark Typhoon.
Mm-hmm. This Cure is really annoying. I'm tense. I want to do in upkeep. I think I bounced this actually.
Oh, Petty Theft didn't stop them from getting the tap effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then we're...
And then we can tap this, right? And if it's a boring...
I'm into it. That actually sounds really good.
I think this looks almost the best here. Okay, now... Don't need the red here. If they go for removal tribals here, we have to defend the token.
Yeah.
But if they
luckily
attack...
Negate and Mystical Dispute do a pretty good job of that.
Exactly. And I mean... Pass to main. Looks the best to me. Not getting tapped down is just so important here, I think.
Yeah. Being able to actually represent Gadwick, Brazen Borrower, and the Shark Typhoon tokens all attacking. And from their perspective, attacking with the 8/8 is lethal, so there's no reason not to do it. And we still have Negate plus Mystical Dispute to try to fight the Sea God on the way down.
Yeah. Now there's probably removal. Okay.
Yep.
Let's hope there's not another counter. And if there's another removal spell, they got us here. That is...
Yeah, alright.
There's only... So, every single removal spell they have is 2 mana, right? There's not a single one for
there's
free.
Soul Shatter, but that doesn't hit the blocker anyway.
Exactly, there's not one for free, so we can just let this go. I mean, we could consider actually doing this because of land Vorinclex, but then we just opt and tap the Vorinclex. 2 bottom is really good sign here. Hello. Hello, blocker.
Alright. With the Phoenix representing haste.
Yep. This looks fine. Maybe they go for Yorion here, but I don't think. Okay, they had the 6 land here. What could that be? I mean, we tap every creature down.
They can have a board wipe.
Yeah.
Extinction Event for Odd is pretty good right now. Binding of the Old Gods. That's probably not going to do it, right?
It's not going to do it.
Yeah, because we got a Phoenix that's going to do just an absolute boatload of damage.
Yeah. Well, we can go for the Contra here.
Yeah, might as well.
We have a land on our hands.
Alright, negate backup. Opponent doesn't have
That
enough
is
mana to make a
really
short
big.
typhoon.
That negate is really big. If their line was to protect this, but I mean they would have played it before.
Yeah. Alright, that should be good. Huzzah!
Nice. That was good. That was a really good game. That was a really, really good game. Yeah, let's go to the outro and talk about them. Well, those games are really crazy, I have to say. I enjoyed playing this deck a lot, and with you together, it's definitely really fun to have like two minds piloting one deck. It's kind of unfair sometimes, but yeah, what do you think about the games we had?
I think that those were really cool games. They kind of showed off the two of the primary ways the deck gets ahead, which is one matchup we saw an opponent playing some kind of expensive 3 and 4 drop creatures that just couldn't keep up with 1 mana removal and 2 mana bounce spells. And in the other matchup, we got to see a really high tier meta deck right now kind of just not be able to deal with the counterspell and flash flying game plan.
Yeah, and I mean they resolved an ultimatum there, and we found a line to actually go for lethal. It was a really cool game. This is probably so. What do you think about the matchup with Izzet against the Sultai ultimatum deck?
So it's kind of an interesting matchup in that a huge percentage of how favored or unfavored you are depends on how the Sultai deck builds itself.
Yeah.
Koma being uncounterable and providing ways to tap down Goldspan Dragons really limits how well you can scale into the late game as Izzet.
Yep.
But aside from that one card, everything else we do lines up really efficiently against them.
Yeah.
We out card draw them, we out threat them, and as long as we're clocking them enough, even Koma doesn't necessarily deal with Brazen Borrower just bouncing it and undoing 7 mana worth of plays.
Yeah, that's true. It's a tempo against some sort of big spell decks, and usually you feel good with counters, right? But then there's usually this counter battle post sideboard, which is really interesting. And sometimes the ultimatum decks, they ramp really hard and then they win because of that reason. But then again, we have the dragon that can potentially ramp as well. So it's a really interesting matchup because I think post board it becomes who wins this deck.
Yeah, the best laid plans can kind of fall apart when you start having land drops get missed and deciding how you're going to choose to cycle Shark Typhoons and how much you can balance being aggressive with, well, do I need to just accept that I'm going to lose to Koma and try to play more conservatively and draw cards and beat everything else and hope they don't draw it? And got to do all of that calculation on the fly. So if you like thinking, this is a good deck to think
Yeah,
with.
if you like thinking, it's definitely a good deck because there are like so many small micro decisions here, and I enjoy this type of deck for sure. And I think right now it's maybe a bit tricky because of the meta shift to fast aggro because of the ultimatum deck. But if the control decks become more anti-aggro and go away from the ultimatum, maybe they go away as well. Where we have to see next week. I think this is gonna be a lot of shifting in this meta for the next weeks for sure, until we really know, okay, this is the triangle or these are the decks.
Yeah, we've definitely got a really nebulous, unfixed metagame right now, which means that if you got a deck that can fight against everything, you're in a good spot, but you never know necessarily if you've got one glaring weakness, how popular it's going to be when it shows up next weekend.
Definitely, yeah. It's a percentage game, right? You can get their percentage, you can get their percentage. But yeah, it was super fun doing this video with you, and so for everyone who listens now for the first time to you, so I mean, you're a Rivals player. They can also see you on the official Magic the Gathering channel. And besides that, where do they find you as well?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at CBotelho Magic, which is BOTELHO, and on Twitch at ChrisBortelho.
Okay. So yeah, check down in the below in the description. You're gonna see both, of course, and check them out. Give them a follow. say hi. He likes to talk about decks. He's super into this as well. I can tell that from experience. Yeah, it was fun to have you here, and maybe we can do this with a new deck soon again. Well, that's good.